Good morning, everybody. Welcome. My name is Lindsay, and I'm a member of this church, and I'm also acting as your lay chaplain. And I will be your speaker for this morning. But what I really want to do right now is just welcome all of you here. No matter what shape or form you find yourself showing up here today, whether you have come from a holiday season that was bitter, that was hard, that was exhausting, or whether you came from a holiday season that was full of joy and light and excitement and peace. This morning we gather here, in this community we gather here to hold it all, to recognize ourselves as whole beings, holding the light, holding the dark, holding all that we are. And we're going to go on a little bit of a journey today about what that means. And I invite you to feel it and feel it all.
We say that January is the time of the new year, with our calendars all switching over, declaring last year over and the new year begun. I, however, have never really felt like this time of year is a beginning. For me, the true new year always starts in September, but I digress. New year or not, I do appreciate the practice of reflection that is so often a part of this time of year. Taking time to look back at all that has happened recently, the relationships and experiences that brought me joy, the times of grief and anguish, the moments I wish I could have done better in. This looking backwards gives me new hope to look ahead. And looking back, I find reasons to be grateful. I am reminded of my resilience. And I'm given encouragement to keep leaning into my growing edges and striving to live as the person I aspire to be. Ultimately, pausing to reflect on the past year lets me see the wide open, awesome possibility of the future. And so we light our flaming chalice, symbol of the living tradition we share, for pausing at the beginning or the middle and opening to all that might yet be.
Have you ever said goodbye to a pet companion and found yourself taken aback at how deeply you feel sad about it? Perhaps you've been surprised at yourself and almost ashamed to admit to others just how deeply you feel about losing your pet. I see Facebook posts from friends about this all the time. And as an acting lay chaplain, trained to hold space for grief and lead memorials, I often find myself reaching out and assuring my friends that their grief that they're feeling is acceptable. The loss they feel is real, and their deep feelings about their pets are allowed. I'll often receive replies to those messages that say something like, "Thank you, Lindsay. It's nice knowing I don't have to feel silly about being so sad. I'm glad someone understands." What strikes me about these exchanges is the part about feeling silly for feeling a certain way. If my friend were dealing with losing a human relationship through a breakup, a divorce, a death, we likely wouldn't be having that kind of conversation. I wouldn't be assuring them it was okay to feel their feelings deeply. Or maybe, depending on the person, I would be. Have you ever noticed yourself questioning and judging how you feel about something? Wondering if you should be feeling a certain way? Wondering if it's okay how you're experiencing your feelings? Wondering if you should express and make those feelings known? Have you ever noticed yourself questioning and judging how someone else feels their feelings? Have you ever wished someone would just put their feelings away? I can't tell you how often this theme has been coming up in my own experience over the last couple of years. So much so that I had to stop and question what's going on. See, for a long time, I believed that I must be one of the rare ones who struggled with their feelings about having feelings. I had trouble owning my full range of emotions, and because of the constant emotional backtalk inside my head, I was constantly judging myself. Is this okay to feel this way? How deeply? This, that. But then, as I stepped into the life coaching profession and watched my son get older and be shaped by school, I saw that feelings, or humans being feeling beings, is very much a wide concern. From observing my son, who at 8 years old has already learned from school culture that it's not okay to cry, to my life coaching clients who are terrified to allow themselves to feel negative in case it affects their ability to attract abundance, to my own experience, feeling such deep grief over saying goodbye to Emily and Marcus, our former ministers, and standing in awe of that depth of grief and feeling really shy and awkward about it at the same time. All of these observations have led me to puzzle deeply. What is the deal with humans and feelings? Specifically, what is the relationship humans have with their capacity to feel? Is it a wretched blessing that humans are feeling beings? Perhaps some here would believe that maybe we'd be better off as a species if we didn't have the capacity to feel. For myself, I've thought and wished that many times in my life. I've looked at science fiction and thought how wonderful it would be to literally be a robot incapable of feeling. Life would just be so much easier, right? Perhaps you have too. Or perhaps you've had other people wish this for you. Wish that you weren't so sensitive, weren't so empathetic, didn't feel things so deeply. It's curious, isn't it? That we can be so bothered by our own inclination or someone else's to feel things deeply. And this comfort isn't just reserved for challenging feelings. Have you ever been told not to get too excited about something? Have you ever been annoyed at someone else's joy and excitement? Think for a minute about your own journey growing up. By the time you were a young adult, what had you learned about the permission you had to not only express your deepest feelings, but how you should experience them? Both sorrow and joy and everything in between. For a society that has come as very far as we have in studying the emotional side of humans, we still seem deeply uncomfortable with feeling beings. Yes, we have more understanding of the biology, physiology, and psychology of feelings. Neuroscience, nutritional biohacking, and brain imaging has catapulted us into a new understanding of the complex relationship going on inside our bodies and brains when it comes to emotional responses on a physical level. Psychology and sociology give us an understanding of things like emotional development, emotional intelligence, emotional regulation. We're able to think critically about our emotional reactions and sometimes even understand the stories and reframe how we feel about something. And there's no question we are moving in a more positive direction as far as society showing more allowance and respect for our emotional selves to be seen, heard, understood, and allowed into more arenas of public and business life. We're finally exploring things like the emotional implications of emotional suppression or conditioning around toxic masculinity and so on. But while all of this information and dialogue center on understanding and integrating feelings better into our lives, which is helping somewhat in increasing the esteem we have for the capacity to feel, we still view the capacity to feel as a purely human attribute or problem. When maybe where we could truly benefit is seeing that it's actually much more. Maybe we're uncomfortable being feeling beings because we haven't paused to consider or to be reverent of our grand role in the greater mystery of the whole. Consider this. After 13.8 billion years of evolution, from the beginning of the universe until now, as far as we know, we are the only creatures who possess the ability to feel at such depths and such range. Out of 140 billion galaxies, who is to say that the evolution of the universe as a whole was only ever meant to be, or only ever had the possibility of being purely material and insentient? Spiritual metaphysics is a belief set that views the mind, body, spirit, and the entirety of the universe as one. What if humans, with our capacity to feel, are not just feeling on behalf of ourselves, but on behalf of the universe itself? Like millions of blood vessels inside our bodies, acting as the conduits for the flow of life, what if humans are like billions of conduits for the universe to experience itself? When we are in awe of the stars above, or the mountains, or a piece of music, or when we are in awe of our love for our children, is this the universe able to experience awe of itself? When we are exploding in anger, falling apart with grief, shaking with fear, is this the universe releasing energy and evolving itself through us, through millions of us? What if emotions, all of them, are just the energetic mirror of a universe continuing its expansion into infinite possibilities? Infinite collisions, infinite births, and infinite implosions? Or is it the other way around? What if our human feelings energetically explode stars, set off comets, with causing black holes in the universe? What if all the wretchedness we feel and the blessings we feel are felt with and alongside the universe itself? I know taking this spiritual metaphysics view might seem to be a little out there. But for me, holding this perspective has done something. It's shifted my appreciation to reverence for this gift, this capacity of humans to feel deeply. This reverence is allowing me to show up differently to myself and with others. I'm able to be more curious and more open and to witness myself and others. I've noticed great growth in my willingness to share my feelings and hold space for others, which has unfolded tender moments of connection I may not otherwise have had. These moments of connection feed me and open my heart to try even harder to bravely be more open. And it's helping with a struggle I've always had to feel more deeply connected to others. The day last April, where Marcus gave his last sermon and we had to say goodbye, by all accounts, you could say I was a mess. I didn't hold back. I didn't shut down and hide my feelings like I would have done in the past. I cried, and I allowed myself to be embraced by a few willing witnesses and felt a new, deeper connection to this community. A heart-level connection. And because I have a challenging time getting here, and my life is complicated, and I'll be honest, I've been wondering lately, can I keep coming here? Can I fit this spiritual community into my life? An 8-year-old, a business, one car, living far away, all of that. But you know what? That moment, that possibility that there might be more moments, deep moments with more of you, keeps me willing. And I can't help but think of the larger community, our city, our society. How many people out there opt out, stay hiding, struggle with connection because they don't feel like they have witnesses and safe communities to be deep feeling beings? Now more than ever, I don't believe we just need to be radically inclusive. We need to be radically comfortable with sharing our whole selves. Perhaps for each other in relationships, as mothers, fathers, friends, co-workers, bosses. If we became more willing witnesses, more willing trustees of this power to feel, we would see and experience ourselves differently and each other differently, more honorably, more reverently. Perhaps we would stop hiding how we feel and stop disallowing others to express or experience their feelings. Perhaps what holding this perspective means is the possibility that the next time we encounter someone's anger, we don't just consider that it's what's going on inside that person, but someone who is experiencing the massive energetic universe finding a way to experience anger. Maybe the next time we wish to withhold compassion out of hurtful spite, we consider that the only way the universe can experience compassion is through us. Maybe the next time we feel ourselves feeling joyful, we embrace and let go of needing a reason to be happy and just experience happiness as deeply as we can, knowing that it's not a selfish experience, but part of our co-partnership with the mystery we are a part. Perhaps as a society, we would experience more peace and more coherence and greater respect if we had more reverence for the human capacity to feel. When you leave today, when you move through your week, notice, how are you feeling about feeling? About being able to feel. Because you are not alone, and you're not wrong for feeling things so deeply. When a challenging emotion comes up, ask yourself, what can I appreciate about this? When you are faced with someone else's emotions, whether it's extreme joy or extreme sadness, and it makes you uncomfortable, ask yourself, how can I witness this fully? Appreciating that what is before me is 13.8 billion years of evolution. When you feel like holding back compassion from someone else or yourself, remember, you are the only way the universe can experience compassion. You are the only way the universe can experience love. You are the only way the universe can experience anything at all. So with that in mind, during the offering, we're going to hold space for your reflections with a candle lighting ritual. And so in a short moment, you'll be invited up to light a candle. And I ask you to light it on behalf of inviting acceptance or allowance or reverence for the feelings that you have and for the power to feel that lives in you and lives in others.